You're watching Global Watch on CGTN. Now we turn to diplomacy. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi is meeting his South Korean counterpart, Chung Eui-yong, in the southeastern Chinese province of Fujian. It's the first visit to China by a South Korean foreign minister in 3 years. Yuting reports.
The visit to China by the Republic of Korea's top diplomat comes just weeks after tour of Asia by the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. Seoul has sought to find balance in its alliance with Washington and its economic reliance on China, with the foreign minister saying after Blinken's visit that the ROK valued its relations with both powers and did not want to pick a side. Joint cooperation in fight against the COVID-19 pandemic will be one of the most important issues to be discussed. In January this year, President Xi Jinping has spoken with ROK's President Moon Jae-in on the phone, calling for cooperation mechanism of fast lanes to facilitate the pandemic prevention and control and the economic development of the two countries. Safeguarding multilateralism and free trade will also be another topic high on the top agenda, as the two sides are accelerating the completion of the second phase negotiations on the free trade agreement, so as to put into effect the regional comprehensive economic partnership at an early date and speed up the construction of the China-Japan ROK free trade area. Denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula will also be another very important issue on the table. Previously, as a top security advisor to the ROK President Moon Jae-in, Chen played a very important role in Moon's engagement policy for the DPRK that led to the historic summit between the former U.S. President Donald Trump and the DPRK leader Kim Jong-un in 2018. Chen also served as Moon's special envoy in liaising with China and the DPRK. Both sides are willing to play constructive roles in promoting the resumption of peace talks on the Korean Peninsula. Yuting, CGTN, Xiamen, Fujian Province.
For more on the visit, let's cross live to our correspondent Jack Barton in Seoul. Jack, what does South Korea hope to achieve from this visit?
Well, again, as we just heard, it's about maintaining the balancing act between Beijing and Washington and ensuring that there's a very constructive relationship between Seoul and Beijing. It does want to remain neutral, it doesn't want to choose sides, but it is in a very difficult geopolitical area, and it's in a very tricky situation, and Seoul knows that. It doesn't have nuclear weapons, but the DPRK does, China does, Russia does, so it feels it definitely needs the United States as a strategic defense partner, but at the same time it has a very close relationship with China, which is his biggest trading partner. But even there it's not that simple, because with the United States, of course, that's the second biggest trading partner, and with China there are also defense parallels or similarities in strategic thinking, particularly when it comes to the DPRK and denuclearization, because Seoul wants a peace accord in place as soon as possible, even if that means before the DPRK makes any big concessions. Seoul also wants economic cooperation with Pyongyang, again, even if that means before any big concessions on the part of Pyongyang, and it really wants to get that economic relationship going. So that's one area that Seoul and Beijing very much see eye to eye on, so it is a very complex relationship. And again, you know, there are countries in the region that would like to see South Korea distance itself from the United States and the security relationship. But if there's one thing that Washington, Beijing, Moscow, Pyongyang can all agree on, is that it would not like to see South Korea have nuclear weapons. And of course, that is a path that would have to go down if it did end that relationship with the United States. So, you know, South Korea trying to essentially be the Switzerland in Northeast Asia. It is a very difficult balancing act to pull off, but it's one that it feels is in not just its own best interest, but the best interest of everybody in the region, having a neutral, helpful partner to all.
Thank you very much. Our correspondent Jack Barton in Seoul. Now, for more insights, let's talk to Professor Chen with Renmin University of China. Thank you very much for joining us, Professor. So some observers have been saying that a visit of South Korea's Foreign Minister, at this time, timing is of essence here, mainly due to the pandemic, the new U.S. administration in place, and also bilaterally, let's remember, China and South Korea will mark 30 years of diplomatic relations next year. What's your reading into the timing this time?
I think it's, you see, South Koreans foreign minister come to visit China, and both countries could work together to strengthen their strategic cooperations. There are a lot of things the two countries can do right now. Number one, they can work together to fight ongoing pandemics, and also work together to recover economy as soon as possible. And last year, when Wang Yi visited South Korea, both countries forged 10-point consensus, so they can follow up the consensus and kick off the 2+2 security and diplomacy dialogue, and also the dialogue on maritime affairs. And both sides also could work hard to upgrade the free trade agreement from phase 1 to phase 2, and also on regional issues. Both countries also share a lot of things, a lot of concerns. They can work together to promote a new kind of a mechanism for health, disease control, and prevention, something like that. And also they can work together to speed up the ratifications process of RCEP and the negotiations over free trade agreement among China and Japan and South Koreans.
So having said that, Professor, do you think working together will be easy for the two countries in the near future? Let me refer you to the remarks from the South Korean Foreign Minister recently. He says, based on the robust alliance with the United States, South Korea will seek to harmoniously develop relations with China. Break down that diplomatic wording for us.
Okay, such a kind of expressions clearly send a signal to outside world that that South Korea and the United States allied relationship are more important than the relationship, South Korea's relationship with China. But South Koreans does not want any kind of confrontational relationship with China. South Koreans doesn't want to take a side in the strategic rivalries between China and the United States. So that's the message South Koreans foreign minister try to send out to the outside world.
Well, Professor